Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the large window on the space station. He looked out at the stars and felt anger growing in his chest. The message on his desk made his hands shake. Resolution 447X was the worst news humans had received. In 200 years, Amy Parker walked into the room. She was Jake's best friend and the chief engineer on the station. She saw his face and knew something was very wrong. What happened? Amy asked. Jake picked up the datapad and read out loud. The Galactic Coalition has passed Resolution 447X. All human colonies must move to designated areas. Human military ships cannot have more than basic weapons. Human trade will be limited to approved routes only. Amy felt her stomach drop. They're treating us like children. Worse than children, Jake said. His voice was cold. They're treating us like pets. For 200 years, humans had tried to be good members of the Galactic Coalition. They had followed every rule. They had helped other species with their problems. They had shared their technology and knowledge. But the alien races still looked down on them. The Seltharian Empire was the worst. These bug-like aliens thought they owned the galaxy. They had ruled for thousands of years before humans even learned to make fire. They never let anyone forget it. Jake remembered his first meeting with a Seltharian officer. The alien had looked at him like he was dirt. Young species, the Seltharian had said with a clicking sound. You must learn your place. That was 20 years ago. Nothing had changed. On Earth, Admiral Lisa Davis got the same message. She sat in her office deep, underground in Colorado. The room was full of other military leaders. They all looked angry. General Chris Walker slammed his fist on the table. 200 years of this garbage. When does it end? Admiral Tony Rodriguez shook his head. It doesn't end. Not unless we make it end. Colonel Susan Hayes was the youngest person in the room. She had grown up hearing stories about the old days when humans fought their own wars. My grandfather told me stories about World War II. He said Americans didn't back down from bullies. This is different, Admiral Davis said. We're dealing with aliens who have technology we can barely understand. Do they? Colonel Hayes asked. Or do they just want us to think that? The room went quiet. Everyone knew what she meant. Humans had been building in secret for decades. They had learned from every alien technology they could find. They had improved on it, made it better, made it deadlier. Admiral Davis looked around the room. These were good people, smart people, people who had spent their lives serving humanity. They deserved better than being treated like second-class citizens. Project Fukoff, she said quietly. Everyone in the room knew those words. They had been planning for this day for 50 years. Deep in the asteroid belt, human workers had been building something the aliens had never seen. Something that would change everything. General Walker smiled for the first time in months. It's time? It's time, Admiral Davis said. Back on the IC space station, Jake was talking to Amy about the old days. Remember when we joined the coalition? Everyone was so excited. We thought we were joining a family. Some family, Amy said. They treat us like the annoying little brother who won't go away. Jake laughed, but there was no humor in it. Maybe it's time to show them what the little brother can do when he gets mad. The communication system beeped. Jake pressed the button. Admiral Davis appeared on the screen. She looked tired but determined. All Earth Defense Force personnel, she said. This is Admiral Davis. You have all seen Resolution 447X. You know what it means. The aliens think they can push us around because we've been polite for 200 years. They think we're weak. Jake and Amy listened carefully. Other humans on the station gathered around screens throughout the facility. They're about to learn something important about humans. Admiral Davis continued. We're not weak. We're patient. There's a big difference, but our patience has run out. The Admiral's eyes were hard as steel. Project Fukoff is now active. All personnel should prepare for Operation Awakening. The galaxy wanted us to know our place. We're going to show them. Exactly where that place is. The transmission ended. Jake and Amy looked at each other. They both felt something they hadn't felt in years. Hope. How long do you think it will take? Amy asked. Jake thought about the secret shipyards in the asteroid belt. He thought about the weapons humans had been building in hidden facilities across the solar system. He thought about 200 years of being pushed around. Not long, he said. Not long at all. In the distance, the first ships were already moving. Human ships that looked nothing like the pretty, elegant vessels the aliens preferred. These ships looked like what they were built to be. Weapons of war. The galaxy had forgotten something important about humans. They were the species that had fought 2 world wars. They were the species that had conquered their own planet before they ever left it. They were survivors, fighters, and winners. The aliens were about to remember why humans had earned their place in the galaxy through blood and determination. The Terran Fukoff Armada was about to teach the galaxy a lesson they would never forget. Jake smiled as he watched the first ships disappear into hyperspace. The real war was just beginning. Commander Rick Thompson stood on the bridge of Ceres Station and watched history being made. For 50 years, this place had looked like a simple mining operation. The aliens thought humans were just digging up rocks and ice. They were wrong. Open. The bay doors, Rick ordered. The asteroid split open like a flower. Hidden inside was the largest shipyard humans had ever built. Massive ships floated in the darkness, waiting for their moment. These weren't the pretty ships the aliens liked to build. These were ugly, brutal, and perfect for war. First wave, prepare for launch, Rick said into his communicator. Captain Helen Brooks sat in the command chair of the TNS Defiance. Around her, dozens of other ships waited for the order. Each ship was packed with weapons that violated every treaty the Coalition had ever written. The humans didn't care about treaties anymore. All ships report ready, came the voice from the communication. System. Helen looked at the tactical display. 200 ships hung in space around Ceres. Each one could destroy an entire alien fleet by itself. Together, they were unstoppable. This is Commander Thompson. Rick's voice filled every ship. For 50 years, we've built in secret. We've prepared for this day. The aliens think they know what human ships can do. They're about to learn they were wrong. On Mars, Colonel Betty Johnson watched workers load the final weapons onto her ships. These weren't normal weapons. They were designed by humans who had studied every alien defense system. They were built to go through alien shields like they weren't even there. Major Dan Foster walked up to Betty. His job was to make sure every weapon worked perfectly. The quantum torpedoes are loaded, he said. The kinetic bombardment systems are online. The particle beams are charged and ready. Betty nodded. Each weapon could destroy a city. Her ships carried hundreds of them. Any word from the Coalition? They're still trying to figure out what we're doing, Dan said. Their spies reported unusual activity in human space. They think we're just upset about the new rules. Betty laughed. Upset doesn't begin to cover it. The Zeltharian spy network had been watching human space for weeks. Hive mind Z-Stalak read the reports with growing confusion. Humans were moving ships and supplies, but it didn't make sense. Their technology was too simple to be a real threat. Probably another one of their emotional outbursts. Stalak told the other Zeltharians, young species are so unpredictable. They'll calm down in a few cycles. The other alien leaders agreed. Humans were known for getting angry quickly, and then forgetting about it. They had never been a real military threat. Their ships were functional, but not impressive. Their weapons followed Coalition guidelines exactly. What the aliens didn't know was that humans had been following those guidelines for their public ships only. The real weapons had been built in secret, using technology the aliens had never shared. Captain Sam Wright commanded the first ship to leave the hidden fleet. The TNS Retribution was the size of an alien dreadnought, but packed with 3 times the firepower. Sam had been waiting for this moment his entire career. Hyperspace. Jump in 30 seconds, his navigator said. Sam looked at his crew. These people had trained for years for this mission. They knew the risks. They knew the aliens would try to stop them. They didn't care. Remember, Sam said to his crew, we're not conquerors, we're teachers. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when you push humans too far. The ship jumped to hyperspace. Behind it, dozens of other ships followed. The Terran Fukoff Armada was on the move. Back on Ceres, Rick watched the tactical display as his ships spread across the galaxy. Each ship had a specific target: military bases, government centers, and industrial facilities that kept the Coalition running. Sir, his communication officer said, we're receiving a transmission from Admiral Davis. Admiral Davis appeared on the main screen. She looked calm, but Rick could see the fire in her eyes. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Davis. Operation Awakening is proceeding as planned. Remember, we are not targeting civilians. We are not conquerors. We are humans, and humans fight with honor. But, she continued, honor doesn't mean weakness. The aliens wanted to see what humans are really capable of. Show them. The transmission ended. Rick turned to his crew. You heard the Admiral. Let's show the galaxy what 200 years of human engineering can do. On Earth, the hidden command center was buzzing with activity. Major Sandy Clark coordinated communications between the scattered fleet elements. Colonel Jim Foster managed tactical data from across the galaxy. Everything was working perfectly. Admiral Davis watched the displays showing human ships moving into position. For 50 years, she had planned for this moment. Every detail had been considered. Every possible alien response had been planned for. Admiral, Major Clark said, the Zelfarian home fleet is moving to intercept our ships near Nexus Prime. How? Many ships? Davis asked. 200 of their best warships, Clark replied. Admiral Davis smiled. The aliens still didn't understand. They were sending 200 elegant, ceremonial ships against 200 human war machines. It would be a massacre. Send a message to Captain Brooks, Davis ordered. Tell her to be gentle with them. We want prisoners who can tell the galaxy what they saw. In space near the Zelfarian trade hub, Captain Helen Brooks received her orders. Around her, the alien fleet was taking formation. Their ships were beautiful, with flowing lines and crystal decorations. They looked like works of art. Helen's ships looked like hammers, blunt, brutal, and designed for one purpose. This is Captain Brooks to all ships, she said over the communication system. The aliens are about to attack. Remember, we want survivors. Show them the difference between pretty ships and real warships. The alien commander, Crystal Singer Veltar, broadcast on all frequencies. Human ships, you are in violation of Coalition space. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. Helen responded with a single word: no. The battle was about to begin. The galaxy was about to see what humans had been building, while the aliens thought they were just mining rocks. The Terran Fukoff Armada was ready to remind everyone why humans had never lost a war they were determined to win. The Terran Fukoff Armada dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 200 human warships appeared around Nexus Prime like angry ghosts. The alien trade hub was the most important commercial center in Zelfarian space. It was also heavily defended. Captain Helen Brooks stood on the bridge of the TNS Defiance and smiled. The human ships had arranged themselves in a specific pattern. When viewed from the planet below, they spelled out a simple message in human letters. Fukoff. "Sir," her communication officer said, "the planet is requesting our intentions." "Tell them to watch and learn," Helen replied. On the planet's surface, millions of aliens looked up at the sky. They had never seen human ships like these. The vessels were dark, angular, and covered in weapons. They looked nothing like the small, peaceful ships humans normally used. Admiral Roy Thompson commanded the fleet from his massive ship, the TNS Sovereign. The dreadnought was twice the size of anything the aliens had ever built. It carried enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. "Open a channel to the entire galaxy," Roy ordered. Every communication system in Coalition space received the transmission. Every alien world, every space station, every ship heard Helen Brooks speak for humanity. "People of the galaxy," Helen began, her voice calm and clear. "For 200 years, humanity has been a loyal member of the Galactic Coalition. We have followed your rules. We have accepted your restrictions. We have endured your condescension." She paused, letting her words sink in across thousands of worlds. "Today that ends. We are not requesting equality. We are taking it." On the Zeltharian homeworld, Empress Ziktala watched the transmission with growing alarm. These humans sounded different. They weren't asking for permission anymore. "This is impossible," she clicked to her advisors. "Human ships are weak. Their weapons are limited by treaty." Her military commander, General Vektar, studied the tactical display. "Empress, these ships, they're not following any design we've seen before." Helen continued her broadcast. "You have treated us as children who need guidance. You have told us where we can live, what we can build, and how we can defend ourselves. You have forgotten something important about humans." The camera focused on her face. Her eyes were hard as steel. "We don't ask for respect. We earn it." Commander Paul Martinez sat in the command chair of the TNS Vengeance. His ship was positioned near a small moon that orbited Nexus Prime. The moon was uninhabited and useless. It was perfect for what he needed to do. "Target the moon," Paul ordered. "Single kinetic projectile, maximum velocity." His weapons officer looked nervous. "Sir, that will completely destroy the moon." "That's the point," Paul replied. The TNS Vengeance fired once. A single metal rod, accelerated to nearly the speed of light, struck the moon. The celestial body simply vanished in a flash of light. Where a moon had existed moments before, only expanding debris remained. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in horror. The humans had just erased a moon with one shot. If they could do that to a moon, what could they do to a planet? Helen's voice continued the broadcast. "That demonstration used the smallest weapon on our smallest ship. We have bigger ships. We have bigger weapons. We have been very, very patient." The Altarian fleet arrived at Nexus Prime 30 minutes later. Crystal Singer Veltar commanded 50 of their most beautiful warships. Each ship looked like a work of art, with flowing crystal structures that caught and reflected starlight. "Human ships," Veltar broadcast, "you will withdraw immediately. The Altarian fleet will not allow this aggression." Admiral Thompson responded personally. "Crystal Singer Veltar, you have exactly 1 minute to withdraw your ships. After that, we will consider you hostile." Veltar laughed, a sound like wind. "Chimes. Hostile? Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our crystal shields. Our ships have protected this galaxy for 10,000 years. Your ships are about to become scrap metal." Thompson replied calmly. The countdown reached 0. Thompson gave a simple order. "Fire." The human ships opened fire simultaneously. The space around Nexus Prime lit up like a star. Particle beams, Quantum torpedoes and kinetic weapons struck the Altarian fleet from every direction. The beautiful crystal ships shattered like glass. Their elegant designs, perfected over millennia, crumpled under the raw power of human engineering. In 4 minutes, 50 alien warships became 50 clouds of sparkling debris. Impossible, Veltar transmitted from his escape pod. Our shields ... our armor ... Your shields were designed to stop alien weapons, Thompson replied. These aren't alien weapons. These are human weapons. On Earth, Admiral Davis watched the battle reports with satisfaction. The demonstration had worked perfectly. Every alien government was getting the same message. Human patience had limits, and those limits had been reached. Admiral, Major Clark reported, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 coalition fleets. Tell them surrender isn't a point, Davis replied. Understanding is the point. The Meridian Republic was the first to break ranks. Ambassador Creolon broadcast from their capital world. The Meridian Republic recognizes the new reality. We call for immediate negotiations with human leadership. Other species began to follow. The pragmatic ones understood that the balance of power had shifted. The stubborn ones would learn the hard way. On Nexus Prime, the orbital defense platforms tried to target the human ships. The platforms were massive structures, built to protect against entire fleets. They had never been defeated. Captain Sam Wright commanded the attack on the platforms. His ship, the TNS Retribution, moved toward the largest platform like a predator stalking prey. Sir, his tactical officer said, the platform is charging its main weapon. It could damage us. Sam smiled. Could, but it won't get the chance. The TNS Retribution fired a spread of quantum torpedoes. The weapons phased through the platform shields like they weren't there. The massive structure exploded in a chain reaction that lit up half the system. Platform destroyed, the tactical officer reported unnecessarily. Move to the next one, Sam ordered. By the end of the day, every defense platform around Nexus Prime was debris. The human fleet hung in space, around the planet like avenging angels. They hadn't fired a single shot at the planet itself, but the message was clear. Helen Brooks made one final broadcast. People of the galaxy, you have 72 hours to revoke Resolution 447X. After that, we stop asking nicely. On the Zeltharian homeworld, Empress Ziktala called an emergency session of the High Council. The old aliens chittered nervously as they watched footage of human ships destroying everything they touched. How is this possible? One counselor asked. Our intelligence said human technology was inferior. Our intelligence was wrong, the Empress replied. The question now is, what do we do about it? Outside the council chambers, Zeltharian citizens looked up at the sky nervously. Human ships had appeared in orbit an hour ago. They weren't doing anything, just hanging there like a promise of what could happen. The galaxy had spent 200 years teaching humans their place. Now the humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson in return. The Terran Fukoff Armada had delivered its message with perfect clarity. The 72-hour countdown had begun. 72 hours passed. The Galactic Coalition sent no response. The alien leaders thought they could wait out human anger like they had done before. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Davis sat in the command center deep, beneath Colorado. She looked at the countdown timer as it reached 0. Around her, the best military minds humanity had ever produced waited for her orders. The deadline has passed, she said quietly. Begin Operation Fukoff. Across the galaxy, human ships that had been waiting in the darkness suddenly came to life. The Terran Fukoff Armada split into smaller groups, each heading toward a different target. The aliens were about to see what happened when humans stopped being polite. Captain Kevin Davis led the first strike force toward Warrior's Rest. The planet was home to the most important Zeltharian military academy. For 1,000 years, the bug-like aliens had trained their officers there. That was about to end. Remember, Kevin told his crew, we're not targeting civilians. Military installations only. We're teachers, not murderers. The TNS Devastator dropped out of hyperspace above Warrior's Rest. Around it, 20 other human ships took position. Below them, the planet's defense systems came online. Sir, the tactical officer reported, they're powering up their planetary. Shields. Kevin smiled. The Zeltharian shields were strong enough to stop any known weapon. Unfortunately for them, human weapons weren't known weapons. Fire quantum torpedoes, Kevin ordered. Full spread. The torpedoes phased through the planetary shields like they were made of air. They struck the military academy with surgical precision. The ancient buildings that had stood for centuries crumbled to dust in seconds. On the planet's surface, Zeltharian. Cadets watched in shock as their supposedly impregnable defenses failed completely. The humans hadn't even slowed down. Commander Lara Wilson led her squadron to the Altarian. Crystal mines on Harmony 7. The mines produced the rare crystals that powered Altarian technology. Without them, the crystal-based aliens would be helpless. Sir, her navigator said, the mining platforms are defended by the Altarian Home Guard. Lara looked at the tactical display. 50 Altarian ships surrounded the mining operation. They were beautiful vessels, but she had already seen what happened to beautiful ships when they met human firepower. Send them a message, Lara ordered. Tell them they have 5 minutes to evacuate the platforms. The Altarian commander, Harmony Singer Meldara, responded immediately. Human ships, you have no authority here. Withdraw or face the consequences. You've been warned, Lara replied. She switched to her ship's communication system. All ships, target the mining platforms. Avoid the ships if they don't interfere. The human squadron opened fire. The crystal mining platforms, each the size of a small city, simply vanished under the bombardment. Centuries of Altarian technology and culture turned to glowing gas in minutes. The Altarian ships tried to fight back. Their crystal weapons were beautiful to watch, creating rainbow patterns as they fired. They bounced harmlessly off human shields. Impossible, Meldara transmitted. Our weapons should penetrate any known defense. Your weapons are designed to fight other crystal ships, Lara replied. We're not made of crystal. On Earth, Admiral Davis coordinated the attacks from her command center. Major Sandy Clark managed communications while Colonel Jim Foster tracked tactical data from across the galaxy. Every operation was proceeding perfectly. Admiral, Sandy reported, we're receiving panic transmissions from every coalition world. They're demanding to know why their defenses aren't working. Tell them the truth, Davis replied. We've been holding back for 200 years. Now they get to see what we can really do. A Meridian Republic tried to negotiate. Ambassador Creolon broadcast on all frequencies. The Meridian Republic calls for immediate ceasefire. We are prepared to discuss new terms. Davis responded. Personally, the time for discussion was 72 hours ago. Now you get education. On the Zeltharian homeworld, Empress Zeke-Tala watched reports flood in from across her empire. Military bases were being destroyed with impossible precision. Government buildings were being reduced to rubble. Industrial centers were vanishing under human bombardment. How many ships do they have? She demanded. General Vectar looked at the tactical displays with growing horror. Empress, our estimates were completely wrong. They have thousands of ships. Each one is more powerful than our best dreadnoughts. This is impossible, the Empress chittered. Where were they hiding? Them? In the asteroid belt? Vectar replied. What we thought were mining operations were actually shipyards. They've been building this fleet for decades. The Empress felt something she had never experienced before: fear. For 1,000 years, the Zeltharian Empire had ruled through superior technology and overwhelming force. Now they were facing someone stronger. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his space station as human ships moved through alien space like wolves through sheep. The aliens' beautiful vessels were no match for human engineering designed for one purpose: winning wars. "Amazing," Amy Parker said, standing beside him. "Look how fast they're moving. Alien ships need hours to jump between systems. Ours are doing it in minutes." Jake nodded. "We built our hyperdrives differently. Alien drives are efficient and elegant. Ours are fast and brutal." On the screen, they watched a human destroyer appear next to a Zeltharian battleship. The alien vessel was 3 times larger and had been considered invincible. The human ship fired once. The battleship broke in half. 200 years, Jake said quietly. 200 years of listening to them tell us how primitive we were. The alien response was panicked and uncoordinated. Different species tried. Different approaches. Some offered tribute. Others threatened retaliation. A few tried to flee to the outer rim of the galaxy. None of it worked. Human ships appeared wherever aliens tried to run. Human weapons destroyed whatever aliens tried to use as leverage. Human technology outperformed anything the Coalition had ever built. The Altarian High Council met in emergency session. Their crystal spires, usually filled with harmonious singing, now echoed with desperate arguments. "We must surrender," Clarity Singer Yoralang argued. "Our shields cannot stop their weapons. Our ships cannot match their speed. Surrender to primitives?" Perfection Singer Nalkith replied, "Impossible. There must be a way to stop them." The argument ended when human ships appeared in orbit above their capital. The massive vessels hung in space like dark angels, their weapons trained on the crystal cities below. Captain Helen Brooks broadcast a simple message: "You have 1 hour to evacuate all military installations. After that, we start shooting." Altarians evacuated in 57 minutes. By the end of the first week, the galaxy had changed completely. Every major alien military base was either destroyed or abandoned. Government buildings across Coalition space lay in ruins. Industrial centers that had powered alien civilization for millennia were smoking craters. But the humans had kept their promise. Not a single civilian had been harmed. Hospitals, schools, and residential areas remained untouched. The message was clear. Humans were warriors, not monsters. Admiral Davis received a transmission from Admiral Thompson on the TNS Sovereign. His face showed exhaustion, but also satisfaction. "Admiral, all primary objectives have been achieved. The Coalition's military capacity has been reduced by 90%. Their industrial capability is down 80%. Government functionality is at 30%. Davis nodded. "Casualties? Minimal on our side. We've lost 3 ships to accidents, none to enemy action. Alien military casualties are approximately 2 million. Civilian casualties are 0. "Good," Davis replied. "Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 was different. Instead of destroying, human ships began appearing over alien worlds with supplies. Food, medicine, and basic technology flowed from human cargo holds to alien populations. Message was simple: we can destroy you, but we'd rather help you. All you have to do is treat us as equals." The galaxy was learning what humans had always known. Strength without mercy was tyranny. Mercy without strength was useless. But strength with mercy could change the universe. The Terran Fukoff Armada had taught the galaxy to respect humanity. Now it was time to teach them how to live with humans as partners instead of masters. 3 months later, the galaxy was a completely different place. The old Galactic Coalition was gone, replaced by something new. The Terran-led Galactic Federation was born from the ashes of alien arrogance and human patience. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the new command center on Luna. He had been promoted after the successful operation. Around him, representatives from every known species worked alongside human officers. The difference in attitude was remarkable. Admiral Morrison, said harmony singer Veltara, an Altarian who now served as cultural liaison. The Meridian Republic has requested permission to upgrade their defense systems using human technology. Jake nodded. Approved. Send them the basic defensive package. Nothing that could threaten our ships, but enough to protect them from pirates. It was a strange new world. The aliens who had once looked down on humans now asked permission for everything. Fear had taught them respect, but humans were working to turn that fear into genuine partnership. Captain Amy Parker commanded the TNS Retribution now. Her ship patrolled the former Zeltharian space, keeping the peace and showing the flag. The ship that had once terrified alien populations now protected them from the chaos that followed the collapse of the old order. Captain, her communication officer reported, we're receiving a distress call from the mining colony on Kepler 7. Pirate raiders. Amy smiled. Pirates had appeared when the old coalition fell. They thought the galaxy had become weak. They were about to learn that human protection came with very sharp teeth. Set course for Kepler 7. Maximum speed. The TNS Retribution jumped to hyperspace. 20 minutes later, it dropped out near the mining colony. 3 pirate ships were attacking. The defenseless miners. They were using old coalition military ships, probably stolen during the chaos. Pirate vessels, Amy broadcast. You have 30 seconds to withdraw or be destroyed. The pirate leader responded with crude insults and threats. Amy sighed. Some people never learned. Fire, she ordered. 3 quantum torpedoes ended the pirate threat in seconds. The miners sent grateful messages to the human ship. Word spread quickly. Attack a Federation world, and humans would appear to make you regret it. On the former Zeltharian homeworld, ex-Empress Zictala worked in her new job as cultural advisor. The proud insectoid who had once ruled an empire now helped her people adapt to life as Federation citizens. The humans want us to attend their cultural exchange program, she told her assistant. Empress, the assistant began. Just Zictala now, she corrected gently. The humans abolished titles of nobility. We're all equal citizens now. It was hard to adjust to, but she had to admit the results were positive. Without the rigid hierarchy of the old empire, younger Zeltharians were showing creativity and innovation. That had been suppressed for centuries. The Altarians had adapted well to the new order. Their crystal cities now hosted human engineers who were learning to combine crystal technology with human manufacturing. The results were impressive. Engineer Tom Baker worked alongside crystal singer Meldana on a new project. They were building power systems that used Altarian crystals with human fusion technology. The hybrid systems were more efficient than anything either species had created alone. Tom, Meldana said in her musical voice, I must admit something. We thought humans were primitive because your technology looked crude. Tom laughed. It is crude. We build things to work, not to look pretty. Function over form. But it works better than our pretty technology, Meldana replied. Perhaps there is wisdom in your crudeness. On Earth, Admiral Davis addressed the new Galactic Federation Council. The meeting was held in Geneva, in a building that had once hosted United Nations sessions. Representatives from 47 different species sat in the same room, discussing the future of the galaxy. Friends, Davis began, 6 months ago, we were second-class citizens in our own galaxy. Today, we stand as equals among the stars. The Meridian representative, now called Ambassador Creolon, stood to speak. Admiral Davis, the Meridian Republic wishes to formally apologize for our treatment of humanity. We let fear and prejudice blind us to your true capabilities. Similar apologies came from other species. The humans accepted them all graciously, but they made one thing clear. The Fukoff Armada would remain active as long as necessary. Colonel Susan Hayes, now General. Hayes commanded the Terran Peace Fleet from her flagship, the TNS Sovereign. The massive dreadnought served as a mobile headquarters for peacekeeping operations across the galaxy. General, her intelligence officer reported, the Outer Rim Coalition is asking for Federation membership. Susan nodded. The Outer Rim species had stayed neutral during the war. Now they wanted human protection from the chaos spreading through former Coalition space. Schedule a membership hearing, Susan ordered. Full background checks on their governments. We don't want any more would-be emperors joining the Federation. The peace wasn't perfect. Some alien hardliners refused to accept the new order. The remnants of the Zelfarian military had formed a rebel group called the Pure Empire. They conducted terrorist attacks on human facilities and Federation colonies. Captain Rick Thompson hunted these rebels with systematic precision. His ship, the TNS Vengeance, specialized in counterterrorism operations. The rebels learned that humans were very good at finding people who didn't want to be found. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we've located the rebel base on Sigma 9. Rick studied the intelligence reports. The rebels had taken over an abandoned mining facility and were using it to build bombs for attacks on civilian targets. Launch. Assault shuttles, Rick ordered. Full Marine complement. I want prisoners for interrogation. The attack was swift and precise. Human Marines stormed the facility using equipment that made them nearly invisible to alien sensors. The rebels surrendered when they realized their position was hopeless. Sir, the Marine commander reported, we've captured their leader. General. Zekroth of the former Zelfarian military. Rick smiled grimly. Kadroth had been responsible for several terrorist attacks. His capture would send a message to other would-be rebels. On Mars, Colonel Betty Johnson oversaw the production of new ships for the Federation fleet. The yards that had once built weapons of war now built ships of exploration and peacekeeping. Ma'am, her chief engineer reported, the new Explorer ships are ready for launch. Alien crews are reporting for duty. Betty watched as mixed-species crews boarded ships designed for deep space exploration. Humans, Altarians, Meridians, and reformed Zelfarians worked together as they prepared to push into unknown regions of space. It was what the galaxy should have been from the beginning. Different species working together as equals, each contributing their unique strengths to the common good. The transformation wasn't just military or political. It was cultural. Human music was becoming popular on alien worlds. Alien art was inspiring human artists. Children of different species played together in Federation schools. Admiral Davis stood on the observation deck of the Luna Command Center and watched Earth turn slowly below. The blue planet that had given birth to humanity now served as the capital of a galactic civilization. Admiral, her aide reported, the Federation Council has voted. They want to officially rename the Terran Peace Fleet. To what? Davis asked. The Fukoff Armada, the aide replied with a straight face. They said the name has historical significance. Davis laughed. It was appropriate. The galaxy had told humans to know their place. The Fukoff Armada had shown them that place was at the top of the food chain. But more importantly, it had shown that humans knew the difference between strength and cruelty. The same ships that had devastated alien military forces now protected alien civilians. The same weapons that had destroyed coalition fleets now kept the peace across thousands of worlds. Captain Helen Brooks, now Admiral Brooks, gave the final speech at the dedication ceremony for the new Federation headquarters. Representatives from across the galaxy watched as she spoke about the future. 6 months ago, you saw us as primitives who needed guidance, she said. Today, you know us as protectors who offer partnership. The choice of how you see us tomorrow is yours. She gestured toward the viewport, where human ships patrolled the space around Earth. A Fukoff Armada will stand guard as long as necessary. Not as conquerors, but as guardians of the peace we've all worked to build. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans weren't primitive. They weren't inferior. They were patient, honorable, and absolutely deadly when pushed too far. The Terran Fukoff Armada had taught the galaxy to respect humanity. Now humanity was teaching the galaxy how to build a better future together. The age of alien supremacy was over. The age of true galactic civilization had begun. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, human ships continued their eternal patrol, carrying a simple message to anyone who might forget the lessons of the past: treat others as equals, or face the consequences of human patience finally running out.